Let me start by asking you something simple, something most people never think about. When was the last time you genuinely paid attention to your Christmas tree? Not just glanced at it in passing, I mean really looked at it, at the way the lights reflect on the ornaments, at the shadows the branches cast on the walls, at the gifts sitting underneath, quiet and innocent. Because once you hear this story, you might never be able to look at your tree the same way again. Tonight's story isn't about monsters in the woods or ghosts haunting old houses. It's about something that feels familiar, comforting, harmless, a Christmas gift. The Davenport family learned that the hard way. And before we're done here, you may find yourself checking your own tree just to make sure nothing new has appeared. So settle in, lean back, don't rush. This story takes its time, and by the end, you'll understand why. The Davenport family wasn't perfect, but they were trying. Michael worked long hours as a paramedic, the kind of job that doesn't pause for the holidays. Maria, his wife, was doing her best to hold everything together. The cooking, the decorating, the holiday planning. While looking after their two kids, Liam, 11 years old, a kid who still believed in the magic of Christmas, and his older sister Harper, 15 and already halfway out the door, mentally but still secretly clinging to holiday traditions she pretended not to care about. They weren't rich, they weren't miserable, they were just real. A normal American family trying to have a good Christmas. The living room smelled like cinnamon candles and hot chocolate mix that never quite dissolves properly. The tree was a little crooked, the ornaments didn't match, and the lights flickered if you plugged in too many things at once. But it was theirs, warm, familiar, human. And maybe that's why what happened next felt so wrong. Because sometimes when life feels stable, that's when the cracks appear. It started on December 23rd, a heavy, cloudy afternoon where everything felt a little too quiet. Maria was finishing up the last of the wrapping when she noticed something curious, a gift she didn't remember placing beneath the tree. It wasn't like the others. While the rest were wrapped in mismatched paper, with tape haphazardly stuck on the edges, this one looked intentional, perfect. Gold wrapping paper smooth as glass, a black ribbon tied so neatly. It didn't even look like it had been touched by human hands. At first she assumed Michael bought it, something fancy, something he forgot to mention. But when she asked him about it, the look he gave her said everything he had never seen it before. They checked with the kids. No one claimed it, and that's when something subtle, almost too subtle, shifted in the air. A cold draft moved through the living room, even though every window was shut, flickering in a way they hadn't flickered before. The Christmas tree lights dimmed for a moment. Maria laughed it off. Because what else do? You blame faulty wiring, or an old extension cord, or the kind of tiredness that comes from too many weeks of carrying the world on your shoulders. But later that night, when the house was quiet, and everyone had gone to bed, a soft sound came from the living room, a dragging sound, like something being pulled across the floor, slowly, patiently, with purpose. The tree lights blinked once, as if waking from a deep sleep, and beneath the branches, just barely visible in the dim glow, the gold gift had moved, only an inch, but enough to make you question your own eyes, if you had been awake to see it. The next morning, Maria didn't mention what she heard, but she stared at that gold gift with a quietness. That made Michael worry. He'd known her long enough to recognize when something old was resurfacing, a memory she didn't want to revisit. During breakfast, while the kids argued over cereal choices, Michael finally asked, "What's wrong?" Maria hesitated, and then she said something she had never told him before. When she was a child, her family had received a gift like this. Same gold paper, same black ribbon, same perfect corners. And the day after it appeared, her little brother vanished. No clue, no trace, no explanation. Her parents never spoke about it again. Not to police, not to family, not even to each other. It was like her brother had been erased from the world and from their memories, but not from hers. The moment she saw the wrapping paper, she felt something she hadn't felt since childhood.
Fear that didn't make sense.
Fear with no name, fear with teeth. Let me stop for just 1 second and ask you something. Have you ever remembered something from childhood that didn't feel like a normal memory? Something that felt heavier, stranger, like it belonged to someone else, but lived inside your mind anyway, Hold on to that feeling. You'll need it for what comes next. That night, after the kids went to sleep, Michael tried to prove the whole situation was harmless. He checked the house top to bottom, the locks, the windows, the alarms. Nothing unusual, but as he walked past the upstairs hallway closet, the one they barely ever opened, he noticed the door sitting slightly ajar. He didn't remember leaving it open. Neither did Maria. He reached out, pushed the door wider, and froze. Inside were boxes, not cardboard moving boxes, not storage containers, but gifts. All of them wrapped in the same gold paper, the same black ribbon, some big, some small, some stacked neatly, some pushed into corners, and one near the middle, had a small crack in the side. From that crack came a sound, a soft, rhythmic sound, like breath. Like something inside was trying to learn how to breathe for the first time. Michael didn't scream. He didn't run. He did something even more human. He closed the door gently, slowly, making sure not to make a sound, and walked away with tears gathering in his eyes. Because he knew what he heard, and he knew whatever was inside those boxes had been there long before they moved in. After Michael closed the closet door, nothing felt normal anymore. Thick. It wasn't anything dramatic at first. No slamming doors, no flickering lights. Nothing that would make you think your home was turning against you. It was small things. The kind people ignore because they don't want to seem paranoid. A framed family photo fell face down on its own, not violently, just gently enough that you might blame a weak nail. Or vibrations from someone walking by. Harper swore she heard someone whisper her name while brushing her teeth, a whisper so soft and close. She spun around expecting to see her mom behind her, but no one was there. Not chaotically, not randomly, Liam's toys moved in the night, but arranged into new patterns, dash. Little lines, circles, shapes. That didn't make sense, but felt intentional. And every time someone walked past the living room, their eyes pulled toward the gold gift, like it was calling for attention. Not loudly, not desperately, quietly, confidently, the way a spider knows a fly will eventually land in its web without needing to force it. On December 24th, the night before Christmas, everything escalated. Not with noise or chaos, but with cold. A cold that didn't belong in a heated home. A cold that seemed to seep out of the walls themselves. Michael walked past the living room and saw his breath in the air. The thermostat read 72 degrees, but the air felt like stepping into a freezer. The kids complained of headaches. Maria kept rubbing her arms, as if someone had just brushed past her skin. The gold gift sat under the tree, unmoving yet somehow more noticeable. Its ribbon looked darker in the dim light. Its paper looked almost metallic, as though reflecting something the human eye couldn't see. Michael kneeled down beside it, curiosity fighting fear. He didn't touch it. Something deep in his instincts refused to let him. Instead, he leaned closer and listened. There was a sound, not breathing this time, not scratching. A heartbeat, a slow, deliberate heartbeat, pulsing from inside the box, like something was growing, or waking up. Maria had been trying to stay strong, trying to pretend everything was fine, trying to convince herself that this wasn't the same curse. That took her brother, but seeing her family suffer, seeing her son unable to sleep, seeing her daughter jump at shadows, broke something inside her. She stood in front of the tree that night, hands shaking, eyes locked on the gold gift. "I'm ending this," she whispered, not to Michael, not to anyone in the room, to whatever was listening. And something was listening. Because the moment she said those words, the lights on the tree flickered violently. Not like faulty wiring, but like something was reacting. Maria reached out her hand, and the second her fingers brushed the ribbon, the room went dead silent. No hum from the refrigerator, no wind tapping the windows, no distant car passing outside. Just silence. Heavy, absolute. And beneath it, the faintest echo of something shifting inside the gift. Not alive, not dead, becoming. Maria recoiled. Tears gathered in her eyes as she whispered, "It's happening again." Just past midnight, with the entire house on edge, they heard a sound from upstairs. Not footsteps, not voices. A soft click, the hallway closet door easing open. Michael moved toward the stairs slowly, his heart pounding in his chest. "Stay here," he told Maria. But Harper stepped beside him. "I'm not staying downstairs with whatever that is." Liam clung to his mother, trembling. They reached the top of the stairs and saw it clearly. The closet door was now wide open. The golden boxes inside glowed faintly, as if reflecting light from a source that didn't exist. And every single one of them, every gift, seemed slightly repositioned, turned outward, facing the hallway, facing them. Michael stepped closer, and that's when he saw it. The cracked gift in the middle had split open even more. Inside, buried in shadows, was something human-shaped, but unfinished. Soft wax skin, a collapsed cheek, an eye that hadn't fully formed yet, glassy, unfocused, twitching like it was trying to learn how to see. Michael stumbled back, choking on fear. Behind him, Harper whispered, "Dad, it's looking at you." Not fast, not dramatically, but enough. Its fingers jerked, a twitch, small but deliberate, like the first movement of a newborn. Then came a tiny, broken gasp, as if its lungs were filling with air. For the very first time, Maria screamed from downstairs, and in that exact moment, the gold gift under the tree began to unwrap itself, slowly, calmly, like someone invisible was peeling it open. One layer at a time. Michael knew they didn't have long. Something was coming out of that box, something not fully formed but determined to be. And somewhere inside that house, another one of the golden gifts took its first unnatural breath.